Hey, Destiny. Happy Sunday.
Hi. Hi.
Thank you for saying yes to
Of
talking.
course. Thanks for asking me. It really
Yeah.
was quite a an honor to be asked. So,
Thank you. Thank you. I'm a little nervous. I've
mhm,
been
me
excited
too.
about talking to you for several days now that you've said yes. So let's just kind of open with this. Um, Tell us a little bit about you, maybe your
Mhm.
name, maybe where you are, and just kind of a couple of facts so we can get to know you and then we'll jump in.
Yeah, absolutely. I was thinking about this when I was reading over the questions and about introducing myself. I feel like it can be such a complex thing. I'm like 38. There's so much to share, and I think people really want to know the things about me that make me relatable to them. So I could go into detail about all the things, but I'll just kind of touch on some of the stuff that might connect me to someone else. So my name's Destiny. I am 38. I live in Columbus, Ohio.
Hmm.
Um, I am a mother of two children. I co-parent quite well, I would say, with my children's father. Um, I am partnered, and I use that term very intentionally. To I'm partnered to a great human being who I get to do life with, and that's pretty fantastic. Um, Took me about 35 years to find that
Hmm.
ideal partnership, and that's helped me, I think, along the way with my growth is having a partner that can show up. Um, I'm a veteran. I served 4 years in the Navy about 100 years ago, or more specifically, 20 years ago. Um, and I have some like trauma that came out of that, as you may expect when you serve in the military, particularly in the last couple of decades in our country. Um, what else? What else is relevant? Oh, I'm in school,
Hmm.
in grad school, full time. So I work full time. I'm in grad school full time. I have kids because there's a lot on my plate right now, and I've been in the middle of this growth through this whole grad school process as well because it felt really important to me to do this now before I start to see clients. So that's been its own journey and learning how to regulate myself while learning how to show up for other people, like in an educational way. So it's all kind of tied together, and it can be a lot, but it's just the right amount, I think. So,
Hmm. That's
yeah.
beautiful. Thank you for sharing and helping
Mhm.
everyone to get you know you quickly. And you're in grad school to be a counselor, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah,
Mhm.
just to help kind of people know. Such a badass. I love it. I love it. You have such a rich life and you've shown up for yourself in just inspiring ways, which is why
Mhm.
you're here.
Yeah.
So that others can hear what's possible and be inspired like you inspire me and you've inspired other people in your group. So you joined a group with me in the beginning of the year.
Mhm.
Quite an unusual way for you to come into a group. Most people have either known me for years, have done work
Mhm.
with me one on one for a while.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I remember getting an email from you, and you're like, it was something like, I really want to join a group with you. And I was
Mhm.
like, that's so unusual because people don't just like dive right in. And I think we started like the next week.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So, can you just tell us a little bit about what was going on in your life at the time that made you
Yeah.
decide now, let's go now?
Uh-huh.
What are some things that you were maybe feeling challenged by at the moment? What was
Mhm.
emerging for you that was
Mhm.
taking you down this new path back then? And how are things now after,
Mhm.
8 months later?
Well, I I'm not one to do New Year's resolutions.
Mm.
Well, no, I'm somebody who likes to tell you I don't like to do New Year's resolutions, but really I like to do New Year's resolutions, and I do it at my birthday too, which is in the middle of the year, middle of July. So I also use the opportunity as kind of a my own New Year. So honestly, I remember I was talking with uh, Joan and a friend of mine, and I said, Lisa's friend's got this like webinar, and I was like, I'm going to do it. I don't normally do stuff like this for myself, but I'm going to do it. Like, just very like, why not? Let's do something for myself. And I was like, what do I have to lose? I was like, it's like one afternoon. That was like for the webinar. Um, and then when I talked to you about the group, I was like, oh, okay, that's bigger than just a webinar. But I was like, this feels important to me now. And I knew that within a year or two, I'd be seeing clients, and it was going to be important for me to be able to have these conversations with them. And it kind of felt like I needed to get my own home in order before I could
Hmm.
start to talk to people about this. And food stuff had been food felt like it controlled my life. I mean, it really did. I like woke up and was like, "What am I gonna have for breakfast?" And while I'm eating breakfast, I'm like, "What am I gonna have for lunch?" And like, everything just centered around food. And I didn't want it to center around food. It was very like, it was a very busy, like my brain was always just racing about food. Um, and I didn't want that. I felt very controlled by food. So um it seemed kind of like to some degree a no-brainer. Like this is something that I've been wanting to tackle. It's here, is being led by somebody that like I kind of know on a maybe on a peripheral level, but like Lisa's spoken highly of you, and like there was no like I felt comfortable, I guess you could say, in this working with you. And I was like, this just seems like it's meant to be. So I'm gonna do it. And
So good.
I didn't even know what to expect, honestly. I just I was ready for a change, or at least wanted to see if I was ready for a change.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what kind of got me going. And now, oh, I don't know, so much has changed. It's that busyness around food, just like it's not there.
Mm.
It's the only way I can describe it. It's not, I mean, I do think about what I'm gonna eat for breakfast, but rather it's more like intentional than it is obsessive. Um, and I'm able to see or maybe understand better what food was doing for me in a way that I kind of understood maybe a year ago. Like I kind of knew it wasn't about the food, but I didn't know what it was about.
Hmm.
Um, and so now I have a much clearer understanding, um, and some like appreciation for my relationship with food as well. Um, it's not like once I've stopped obsessing about it, I became like apathetic to it. I still care about my relationship with food. It just feels more balanced.
Hmm. That's beautiful. Yeah. One thing that you've shared that really stuck with me, and it's stuck in a way that I made a little picture out of it, and
Uh-huh.
I put it because I remember you sent me a text or a Facebook Messenger that had a picture of ice cream.
Ice cream, yes,
Remember?
yeah,
And
Jenny's cream puff.
yeah,
It's my
and
favorite.
you had said peace with food is finding your favorite ice cream in the store and
Mhm.
feeling relief instead of
Well,
joy.
feeling joy instead of
Joy
relief.
is the feeling joy instead of relief. Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
yes. Yeah, it was like this.
Yeah.
I'm not I'm not so dependent on food to regulate me that I find my favorite ice cream and I'm like, finally, here's the thing that's gonna make me feel better today. Like, I'm like, oh, here's my favorite ice cream. Yay, this gets to be the icing on the cake or the ice cream on the cake, if you will. Like
So
it's no longer the cake itself. It's no longer the thing that's gonna make me feel better. I'm
yeah.
already feeling better and I get to just enjoy the ice cream for what it is. And that's true of
So
so
good.
many things in my life now that I get to enjoy them for what they are, not the thing that's going to make me feel better. The
Yeah.
relationships, like human relationships, relationship with food, lots of things.
So beautiful. So beautiful. And I remember reading that and being like, wow, like back when I was in the midst of my healing journey, I couldn't even have dreamt of that. Couldn't
Mhm.
even have dreamt of looking at ice cream and feeling joy.
Mhm.
Like those so much guilt and shame tied around
Mhm.
eating anything that wasn't within the box of what I had decided, the
Mhm.
box du jour, whatever
Mm.
it's that
Uh-huh.
day, that it would have almost looked like impossible.
Mhm.
And seeing that possible now for me and for you and for my students, it's like, oh, thank God, it's actual
Mhm.
freedom. It's actual
Yes.
freedom.
Yes.
Yeah. Can you tell me a little bit about those difficult feelings around food? How was that for you? Feeling shame or feeling guilt? A lot of people kind of relate to that. And how is it
Yeah.
now?
Yeah, it was definitely shame, like, just really anything I ate, there was shame around it, in part just because it took up so much of my time, like, I
Mm,
even if I made the right choice, then I would shame myself for taking so much time, or shame myself for just now getting to the point where I can make the right choice. I mean, I found a way to shame nearly every choice I made around food,
yeah.
um, and I don't do that very much anymore. It's not, like, completely gone.
Mm,
I'm not gonna pretend like I
mm-mm,
that shame has never showed back up in my life, because it does, but I've, like, let go of shame significantly in my life, just all around, pretty much
mm.
most things. Even when, like, if I'm in an argument with somebody and I don't say things just the way that I wanted to, I show up for compassion for the way that I could articulate myself. And just there's all different, like, facets of my life in which I've just reduced the amount of shame that comes with
Hmm.
the process. So food is one of them. It's not the only one.
Beautiful. That's so
In
good
fact,
to
I think I
hear.
had to let go of some of the other shame before I could get to the food shame.
Yeah.
Like, so.
Yeah. Well, it's so interesting, right? Because people don't quite realize that shame is shame.
Hmm.
And neurobiologically in our bodies, we're going to hold shame. We use the same wiring to hold
Mm,
shame in relationship to people as we do in
mm,
relationship to food. And
mhm,
so as these kind of log jams start to open up, we can have more flow there.
mm.
And
Yeah,
I've really seen that in you. It's really inspired me tremendously.
yeah,
So good.
yeah.
So
It's
good.
been really great. Just that shame, and when you let go of shame, you're able to show up for yourself better, in all different kinds of ways.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and there's a less of a need when you stop shaming yourself. Like, I remember the first time I was eating some ice cream and I was, like, stressed, and um, I remember either saying out loud or to myself, but I thanked the ice cream for, like, what was doing for me, like, showing up for, like, love of this thing that could help me when I needed help, and how much quicker I was able to just move past needing it once I accepted it for what it was. Um, and that was, like, a pretty big moment for me, that transition.
Yeah.
Again, it's not been like, I would never want anybody to think that, like, that happened one time and then like, now it's just been butterflies and rainbows around my food. No, there's still I still emotionally ate on ice cream on Tuesday night and was like, I didn't exactly wanna do this, but or it was Wednesday night, I don't know. But those periods of guilt or shame are not as significant as they were before, and I feel like I have tools for them that I can access pretty quickly, where
Yeah.
before I didn't have any tools.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember that. I
Yeah, I was
remember
toolless.
I remember those days. You have a big toolbox now and a big
I
network of
do.
support.
Yes, yes,
Lots of people
absolutely.
to reach out to and knowing how. I'm curious, how was the process of working in a group for you?
Mhm,
Because the Peace with Food transformation groups have group work and one-on-one work, and so there's
mhm,
kind of like this ebb and flow between one-on-one and
mhm.
group the whole time. How was that for you?
Um, I enjoyed it better than I thought I would. Admittedly, I was like, "Well, I just wanna talk about me and my problems." Um, I Sometimes you can feel really alone in the way that you
Hmm.
move through your problems, and so I had this idea of, like, I'm gonna get in a group full of people, but they're not gonna like, their problems are gonna be just different than mine, and so I'm
Mm,
just gonna have to, like, spend a bunch of time listening to people talk about problems I can't relate to. But in the end, I don't know. That wasn't my experience, and it wasn't even about relating to their problems. It was just about just having other people around to like witness. Um, yeah, the relevance of their particular struggle was much less significant than I thought it would be. So
Yeah.
I ended up thoroughly enjoying group. Like I'm a big proponent of group work now.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so that definitely shifted for me. I was kind of a what's the point in group work? And now I'm like, there's a big point in group work. Like there's a lot to be learned in group work and sharing your nervous system on a larger scale and people just showing up for you. Um, and yeah, all of that is just fantastic.
That's
I love
beautiful.
it.
That's
I love it.
beautiful. Yeah. What I was reflecting on as your group was graduating last month was how for the rest of your lives, you know, you're going to carry these other people in your
Mhm.
nervous system forever,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
the changes that they've witnessed in you, the growth
Mhm.
you've had,
Mm.
the breakthroughs you've had,
Mhm.
they're all there. Like I can't imagine there will be a moment in which I'll be like, who was in that group? Was it
Mhm.
Destiny
Mhm.
and Lisa? Like I'll always know your
Mhm.
names
Mhm.
together. You always
Yeah.
be one collective
Mhm.
experience for me.
Yeah.
I'll never forget that because now you're
Yeah.
imprinted onto my heart too,
Yes.
which is
And I
gorgeous.
that first and the second time we did it too, but the first um ending, like between phase 1 and 2, there was a when you had us all like share things about each other and how nervous I was and how much I felt seen when people shared about me, what they thought about me and what that did for me. And then I even shared that with my partner and like she was moved by it. Like she was like that, that's amazing. Like that is how we see you. And it's like so great that there's a group of people who can tell you that they see you that way. And so that was like really that was huge.
It was
That was a
very
really
sweet.
big thing.
It was a very big thing, and just to be able to be received and then to witness others receiving you,
Mhm.
like that thing that we talk about feeling felt.
Mhm. Yes.
Dancing goes feeling felt. It's such a beautiful experience, and you really need to slow down to experience that.
Yes.
And I think in real life, like we're moving so fast, 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 fast. Even if somebody gives you a compliment or
Mhm.
say your partner
Mhm.
reflects something about you that is really nourishing, it's like, oh yeah, thank you, and you just
Mhm.
keep going. Like we don't take the minute or
Mm-mm.
two it takes your body to really grow the roots of that.
Mhm.
Oh, that was so moving.
It was. It really was.
I almost want to go back to that recording and like listen to it again.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. It was really great.
should totally do that. Should totally do that. So, kind of like a landing, almost like a landing question.
Mhm.
Um, what do you feel is something that now that you have your own healing experience, what do you feel is something that you really want to tell others who struggle with emotional eating or who maybe have a history of eating disorders or
Mhm.
have some other kind of food suffering?
Mhm. I
What's
was
something to extend to them?
I was thinking about that today and how to me how little it was about the food. Um, and I remember like I had tried like all different kinds of diets or meal whatever, keto, paleo, vegan, all of that. And I thought, but that's not like it didn't really matter. And I thought of this analogy while I was taking a walk today and I was like, it's kind of like picking out the right shoes to run a marathon. Like that matters, but if you didn't train to run, then it doesn't matter what shoes you have on.
I love
Like
that.
you have to be able to know how to run. And that's what this work has done for me was like it prepped me for whatever I just like whatever meal, diet, whatever that I choose to participate in going forward, like, I now feel prepared or far more prepared to navigate that because I'm
Mm,
navigating with a nervous like a regulated nervous system and not like I was just grasping for straws before. Like,
yeah,
I'll do this because this will be the thing, or I'll do that. I'll use essential oils or you name it. Like, I just and not that there's anything wrong with that, but you think it's gonna be that one thing that will be the thing that changes, but there isn't that one thing. It's long, steady work. Um, and like, but it's worth the time. So
so
yeah.
good, so good. That analogy of the shoes and the
Mhm.
marathon, I'm
Mhm.
so sharing that. It's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. One of the other people who just finished in your group,
Mhm.
at their exit consult, we were talking about, she shared something very similar. She said, it feels like all the nervous system regulation work we did got me where I can now stand at the start line of my life.
Mhm. Mm,
And now I
mhm.
can start. Now I can run a race.
Yeah.
It was very
Yeah.
interesting that you've both
Mhm.
had similar experiences. Uh, and because I've had that experience, I know exactly what
Mhm.
that feels like.
Mhm.
The kind of I can,
Mhm.
whatever the next thing is, that there's this
Mhm.
capacity to just be able, and
Mhm.
knowing that you're able.
Yeah. Yeah, and knowing that, like, it it takes more, like I mean, when you think about the analogy with the shoes, like, I can't tell you how many different pairs of shoes I thought I needed to buy because it was the shoes. I kept thinking it's the shoes, but it's not, and I wish more people could understand that it's not, like, this package they're gonna sell you that's gonna, like, make things different. It might for a short amount of time. I'm sure a good pair of running shoes will help you for, like, the first couple of miles, but in my experience, by mile 10, when you're just ready to give up, you're gonna need more than a good pair of shoes.
Yeah, yeah. Like a really well regulated nervous system and a group of people to
Exactly.
support you.
Yes. Yes, probably literally, like, when running a race and figuratively in the life race, if you will.
Yeah, so good, so good. Is there anything else that's on your mind that I have forgotten to ask, or you're like, people really need to know this?
No, I mean, I the word space, I felt like I wanted to incorporate just how much space this creates too. I mean, I brought up it not being about food, um, but just how much more room there is to kind of navigate all of these things. I
Mm,
mean, uh, I'm just blown away by what I have the capacity for now. And that's been the biggest like shift for me is no matter what I do with my food, there's capacity there to figure that out most of the time. And when there is a capacity, then there's love for the reason why there's no capacity. Like,
beautiful. Yeah,
so yeah.
so good, so good. I just feel so thrilled and so enlivened and excited and just jazzed by our discussion. Thank you for sharing
Yeah.
yourself and your own
Yeah.
experience. Thank you for being in the group all this time.
It's been
Uh,
amazing. Truly
and
amazing.
moving on, now you're in my membership, and
I
just
know.
yeah, it's just going to be a much bigger group as it grows, and uh, I just am just deeply grateful and
Mhm.
honored.
Yeah.
Thank you, Destiny, and thank you for
Same.
sharing. Thank you for sharing.
Of course. Thanks for asking.
Yeah, I hope you have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
and
you.
everyone who's listening, I hope that your hearts have been touched as mine has, and whatever your journey is, that you're as inspired by Destiny as I have.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank
Thank
you.
you so much.
Okay,
All right.
bye.
Bye.